Yeah, looking
Good.
Okay, Galenus Army, welcome back.
Oh.
So we're back at it again, and I think tonight we're wrapping up the Greek tragedy Mobflix season. So we're going to be doing that
With a classic, with
a banger, and we've got a few things to talk about. So we'll head into it. We'll start with the usual pleasantries. So today I'm smoking an old favourite. I've got the Savinelli Sistina with, actually for the first time in a while, a different tobacco, which is Cornell & Deal's small batch San Sepolcro, which we have filmed a video on recently reviewing it. You may have seen the short that I put up. That's like, I've used a B-roll from the filming for that.
it was luscious.
Yeah, it was. It was good. So what about you, man?
I also, I'm finishing off the last of this San Sepolcro. Perhaps a good opportune moment to show off the new hardware. So it was my wedding anniversary last week.
Many years.
Thank you very much. And my good lady, ably supported by somebody not a million miles away, made the right choice. Needed a man to make the right choice. And made the right choice. Got me a Savinelli 108.
Yeah.
Mate. And Mate meaning, I'll just get that on camera. Mate meaning Mars. So the idea is the rustication and the redness of the wood is supposed to give a hark back to Martian red soil. So there we go. But it's a lovely straight billiard, lovely little size, fits very, very nicely, snugs and nests away nicely inside the pouch. It takes a 6mm, like with most Savinellis. I think most new Savinellis are a 6mm balsa filter.
6 or 9 usually, yeah.
Or 9. This is a 6mm with like a fishtail stem. Lovely copper band, copper for our copper wedding anniversary, 7 years. They also, I've got to tip my hat to Savinelli, man. They've got it licked. Some like a filter, some don't like a filter.
Yeah.
So what do you do when some like it? When some drink coffee and some drink tea, what do? They just send both. So they effectively they ship it out with an adapter.
Yeah.
So that you can smoke it sin filtre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got some other stuff to talk about in terms of filters a little bit later, but just sticking with the pipe for now. One of the things that was interesting was the last Savinelli that I got, which was the Clark's, was carbonised inside. It was pre-carbonised. And I think, was yours as well?
I believe so, it was. It was a while ago, but I'm pretty sure it was.
I thought it was. This one isn't. It was just raw briar.
Yeah.
So, unfinished, completely unfinished, no treatment to it. So, I'm just kind of having a bit of an experiment with how this cakes up versus how the Clark's caked up. And I've got to say, man, so far so good. Seems to be taking on cake quite nicely. So, we'll see. But this is just a lovely pipe.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Very easy smoker. A little bit hot still, because it's new. That'll settle down over time. Man, the San Sepolcro. Wow.
Yeah.
What a smoke. Virginia. How long's it been since we smoked like big quants of Virginia?
A long time.
It's been a while, and yet this is not your granddaddy's Virginia, although it's aged like it's almost aged like your granddaddy. It's old, it's sweet,
it's mellow,
it's tasty, it doesn't bite.
Like a faithful hand.
It's like big old Shep, the golden retriever, right? Who's gone rolling around in the burley field, in the burley.
He will
patch.
not bite.
He's a good boy, and
Very
this is
good boy.
just cracking. So, if you haven't seen the short yet, what are you doing? Go and have a look at the short. Me and Harry just getting funky with the San Sepolcro, and the big video is going to be coming out fairly soon. So that'll give you a bit more of an idea about just how good this smoke is.
On the same subject, we've also got a video coming out about getting into cigar smoking for the pipe smoker, because I know last time we were on, we had a little bit of a conversation with Duncan, who mentioned that he'd been smoking a pipe for, I think he said 20 years, and he never really ventured into cigars. So, and he asked for some recommendations. So we thought we'd do a video on that for the guy who's been smoking a pipe for a while, who's thinking about trying a cigar, you know, where to start and how to progress from. So,
and I've got to say, man, I thought that not only was that kind of wild that he smoked a pipe for 20 years and never smoked a cigar, I was like, it's also kind of admirable. Like,
it is quite admirable.
That's kind of dedication.
Yeah.
That's dedication to sticking it out of the pipe. We've been on a couple of pipe nights, cigar nights since, and enjoyed a few sticks. But that, for those of you who are thinking about it, we try and cover pretty much most of the bases, don't we? In terms of getting started.
Basically, it's Dean and I smoking a couple of cigars like we normally would, but we're taking you through the process. We give some recommendations based on what kind of blends you like, and basically how to smoke a cigar, getting the most out of it, keeping it burning properly, and you know, so
looking after it.
Yeah. So so that's also coming out.
And now I'll talk a little bit again about drinks. So tonight I've got a bit of Buffalo Trace, just tidying that off. Got a bit left of that in the new tumbler mug that
beautiful.
That Tanya bought me, my good missus. Nice copper stag there. And then we've got some other bits and bobs to go through. I want to talk a little bit about stones.
Yes.
What we do with stones.
Yeah.
These are probably the most expensive clay beads clay grit I've ever bought. It still wasn't a lot of money really for what I got. I think it's pretty good value. So we're going to talk through the keystones, Nordin keystones. So handily enough, I've got a Nordin pipe, which will just give you a good indication of that, because it's a sloppy smoke in there. It's a lovely pipe, but a bit sloppy. So we'll see how that performs. And then we got a little bit on some other hardware which I wanted to show you, which is the last thing, which is a pipe knife. Now,
oh yeah, I love this.
You've got a similar thing, haven't you?
I've got a similar one by the same maker, Rogers of Sheffield.
Rogers.
It's kind of I think it's more or less their basic kind of knife. It's just a kind of chrome handle, and
so
that's
hopefully
lovely.
we can just show up on camera there. So there's your tamper, look, and that will move. So you've got a 90-degree movement on that.
Yeah.
I'll talk you through a little bit about why that's so helpful in a moment. Then we've got a little pipe knife for trimming back the cake, and a nice lance as well there for giving it the old lancing treatment. So that's buffalo horn, and just slots nicely into a little grain leather pouch, and that just goes in my backy pouch. That's the way.
Great setup.
It's lovely, cracking little thing. So what makes the bending tamper so helpful is that one of the things that I found was difficult with my other pipe knife, which is perfectly usable, stood me nothing really. It's looked after me, but you mentioned quite a lot about rather than tamping it down, lifting. So if you imagine the bowl being sort of round like that, you don't want to be whacking the middle down. What you really want to be doing is kind of just beveling away
exactly
the backy from the edge of the pipe. Because it's cooler, it burns hotter in the middle and slower around the edges.
Yeah.
And I find that hard with that tamper.
Yeah.
But that one, because I can change the angle, it stops that.
Yeah. And I think that is, I always say that is what is so, I don't know whether they had this in mind when they designed it, probably not, but that's what's so great about the Czech tool is that the stem of the tamper is offset. It's on one side, so you can use that to angle tamp from the side of the bowl in towards the centre. You get a little cone of ash that will insulate your smoke, and you avoid just like plugging the bottom.
That's it.
Just by going straight down.
That's the thing. That's the thing, because like we've all had it when you're smoking away, and then you kind of tamp, gets a bit hot, tamp it away, and then you just end up with a brick wall of slop at the bottom. So that helps with dealing with that. So so that was the haul, pretty much. We've got Bearded Kinesian on. Good to see you.
Welcome back, brother.
Smoking Star of the East.
Ooh. I've heard of that. That
sounds like.
Is that like a Oriental?
Yeah.
Got some Oriental, bit of Lataki in there.
That's right. Yeah. Spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Good to have you back, man.
Yeah, 100%. So, Godfather.
Yeah.
The daddy of all mob films, certainly got to be up there, hasn't it?
It's a masterpiece. I think, it is the flick that you think of when you're talking about mob flicks. It is the granddaddy, the Padrino. So we're gonna round off the Greek tragedy mob season with this one. So as you say, it's the granddad, it's the godfather of the mob flick. So and faithfully adapted from the novel as well, and just like really memorable performances.
And I can't help but say, like, yes, about the performances, the quality of acting in it is just top notch. Like performances that all of them, because they're all good actors. You might say that some of them are great actors, Brando and Pacino, Robert Duvall. They turn in some absolute corkers, don't they?
Bangers.
You've got, I can't imagine anybody but Brando playing Don Vito.
Yeah.
Right, he just is him.
There's just some roles like Vigo playing Aragon that you could never imagine anybody else doing.
Right.
And he's got
him down. And even Pacino, who I said to you a while ago, like and I love the film, love it. I'm here for Crazy Al, right? For Big Crazy Al, Little Crazy Al, right? I'm here for him, but I think he got his settings a bit stuck after Scarface, right?
Yeah.
This is a very different Al Pacino.
Yeah.
He's very calculated.
Stayed.
Yeah. But there's a character. So his character arc particularly. Probably right to say that in terms of the Godfather, there are kind of two Godfathers in this film.
Yeah.
And it is effectively one passing the baton over
it's about the succession,
to the other.
Yeah.
Like with Rome, the Roman Emperor passing the ring onto his heir apparent, and the heir becoming the emperor that he was meant to be.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for me personally, that story arc, the succession, that is where I think the aspect of the tragedy comes in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, to draw an example with Oedipus Rex. So Oedipus, he's got this this prophecy about what's going to happen to him, and he goes out of his way to make sure it doesn't happen. And what happens? It happens. So it says pretty early on that Michael, Don Vito always wanted Michael to be the guy.
Yeah.
He wanted Michael.
Why?
Why does he say?
Well, you look at the other kids, and Connie in the first film, so Constanza, his daughter, is a bit flighty. She's a bit of a party girl. She's a bit of a spoilt kind of rich girl. Sonny, I love it all. I love Sonny.
Yeah.
He's so good.
But he's not a leader.
No. He's a hothead. Yeah. And he's impulsive. And I mean, he's tough. He's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Right. And he's brave. But he's too tough.
But you wouldn't put him at the helm. Yeah.
No, because he's too reckless.
Yeah.
You know, a bit, and it kind of like parallels a little with sort of aspects of Jimmy Conway's character in Goodfellas, and some aspects of Joe Pesci as Tommy Two Guns DeSimone. Kind of there's a bit of there's an impetuousness about him and a recklessness about him. Fredo. He's not the guy, is he?
He's not the guy.
And he's second oldest. I think he's second oldest. I think Sonny's the oldest, isn't he? and he's a bit of a black sheep, isn't he? He doesn't quite get it. He's quite soft-hearted, but in a kind of a, not soft as in like, oh, he's a nice guy. He gets things wrong. He goofs up, and people get hurt.
Yeah.
But Michael was kind of, he was the Don's banker. He was the Don's ace in the hole, and he knew that he was clever. He was probably the smartest of his kids. Gone to college, and then he went and fought for his country.
Yeah,
in World War II,
which Don Vito did not want.
He didn't like it.
No,
he didn't like it. It was more important for him to concentrate on his family.
Yeah,
wage the war at home, fight that on the home front than it was to go and fight in the war. And also, there's a whole thing about fighting Italy. It's like there's kind of tensions there, but
he's picked what's the word they use, a American wife. He's not picked an Italian wife.
Right.
He's kind of
which we'll come back to later, because that things happen with that.
What he says to her, I think it's when they're at the wedding. He says, "This is my family, Kay. It's not me."
He's embarrassed. He's ashamed of him.
But that is like the pride, the hubris that he can.
I'm better than that.
Yeah, he can. He can come back to this environment and yet be above it.
Yeah.
Be above consequence. But as we see, it's not the case. But yeah, so Don Vito always had Michael pegged to be his successor. Michael kind of did everything in his power to not be that.
Yeah.
Then he gets drawn back into a situation where he is, I guess, compelled by a sense of like family loyalty or duty to, to protect his family.
As an aside, bro, just as, and thinking shooting from the hip a little bit here, when you hear about famous bishops through history, famous leaders through history, the best of the best, they didn't want the leadership role.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do it. It was inherently crooked. It took them too close, to use another Greek term, took them too close to the sun. And yet, they're the ones who are, because of that, makes them the perfect candidate to do it.
Exactly. And I mean, that is kind of part of Plato's critique of democracy in the Republic. Like, the very fact that you're putting yourself forward for a position of leadership is what disqualifies you. In Plato's thought.
Yeah.
That's what disqualifies you from being a leader, right?
Right.
You'll always succumb to corruption that way. So he believed that, he said that, basically philosopher kings should run this ideal republic. But yeah, it's a good point that the people that kind of have the leadership thrust upon them unwillingly tend to make the best leaders.
Yeah.
And you can see, just to go on another tangent, that Peter Jackson chose to make that change for Aragorn in Lord of the Rings, because in the book Aragorn's pretty ready from the get-go to be, and he's quite proud of his lineage. But film I think it was probably a wise decision, made him like a reluctant.
Yeah. That he's turned from the path.
And even to go a step further, you see at the wedding of Cana, where Mary is saying to Jesus, "Look, you got to do this," and he's like, "Look, it's not ready. I'm not ready to do it.
Yeah.
It's not time.
It's not time."
But it's kind of impressed upon him.
Yeah. That's a great shout.
Yeah.
That's a great shout. And so, Michael is effectively the heir apparent, and notwithstanding the character traits we've just said, Michael is smart. And smart as in not just as in book smart, he plays 4D chess.
Yeah, he's a military guy. So.
He's a military guy. He understands about fighting the battle and fighting the war, about where to pick your battles, which battlegrounds to fight on, when to smile, when to shake hands, and when to draw swords. And so that comes into it maybe a little bit later. But I think, again, to some extent, there's a little bit of sort of the hubris in each of these characters. The Don is kind of his hubris a little bit, is that he's already kind of worked a plan out.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite go in accordance exactly with his plan. Sonny, he ends up taking over because he's the oldest, and
Yeah.
so he's kind of, and he is, in his own way, he's quite fatherly. You know, the way he speaks to Mikey and to Tom is adopted brother, probably the best way of describing him. You know, he's very.
And they are particularly close.
They're very close.
They were the buddies. He kind of brought him into the family.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it when Mars made a little dinner. It's Sunday, but you know we've all been there. But this impetuousness about him, this rashness about him, is what ends up undoing in the end.
Exactly. That's his fatal hubris, because he believes, being the tough guy that he is, that he can throw his weight around.
Right.
And there's not going to be consequence
That's
for it.
it.
But that is ultimately the thing that, because he's on his way to Connie when he's killed, right?
That's right.
Her husband is in a really stupid move, smacking around the Don's daughter.
Yeah.
So
look. I mean, you know, but
it's the Don's
you
daughter.
can't do it. You can't do it. So, yeah, you just can't do that. So he, and it turns out that it's been completely engineered. Right, the whole situation has been engineered.
Yeah. What I never understood was that he calls her a guinea brat.
Yeah,
but
even though he's supposed to be,
he's Italian.
He's supposed to be Italian.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's kind of from one part of Italy and she's from another, I don't
Maybe
know.
it's that. Maybe
he's a northerner. Maybe I
Yeah.
don't know.
And they're from Sicily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even like really early on, because at the start of the film, it's at Connie and Carlo's wedding, right? It's them getting married, and the Don is sorting out his family business before he goes and effectively starts the reception and festivities off.
Yeah.
And he's talking to Tom, his adopted son, who takes the role of the consigliere, so he's like a kind of an advisor, trusted advisor. And he says, what are we going to do with Carlo? And he says, I'll give him a job. He said, I'll give him a high job. And the Don says, no, never give them a high job. Give them a good job, but nothing too close to the family.
Mm.
He doesn't trust him. He knows he can't be fully trusted.
Yeah.
Even back then, he knows that something's off colour with Connie's choice of husband. Maybe it's that he doesn't know Carlo that well, but he knows Connie really well, and that she makes kind of daft choices.
Yeah.
Maybe. But in essence, as the story progresses, Sonny tries effectively to cut a deal with a pharmacologist, shall we say, for the purposes of YouTube. He's a pharmacologist who loves his poppy plants.
Yeah.
Right. He's big on poppies and everything that comes with it. And the Don, again showing him, maybe, could we say a little bit of hubris here? Maybe it's hubris, but for the right reasons. You know, we understand it, we hear his logic, but he turns the deal down. He doesn't want to get involved in the pharmaceutical industry, right? He wants to keep with casinos, saucy dames, bringing in, you know, naughty vices, but not necessarily pharmaceutical naughty vices.
Yeah.
And this is like the event which, I think, with all of these sort of these Greek tragedy stories, there's like an event where a different decision could have led to a different outcome.
Yeah.
But the Don's philosophy is on this: if he gets involved in this, it's a dirty business, is the words that he uses.
Mm.
And he's not saying it disparagingly necessarily, but he believes that the people who he has relied on, who he's got invested, shall we say, in his business, would turn their back on him. He might lose them, and therefore he would lose his grip on his authority. And so he turns them down. He turns the guy down, and there's almost immediate reciprocity, isn't there? And this guy Solozzo's a knife expert, they say, and not long after, the Don sends his biggest tough guy to go and find out about what this guy is all about. If he's come to me, who else has he come to?
Yeah.
If I've turned him down, who's going to say yes? And he's thinking already. The other heads of the 5 families. There are 5 big families in New York, and he suspects that he's already having conversations with a couple of others, and it turns out that he has. and the Don's top guy, Luca, gets whacked.
Yeah. Luca Brasi.
Luca Brasi. On the day of your daughter's wedding. And rolling on a little. So that was kind of the Don's, a little bit of the Don's hubris showing. Fredo, it takes his dad round, takes Vito round. They go buying oranges.
Yeah.
And something always bad happens around oranges for some reason. I don't know what Coppola's got against oranges, but oranges are bad apparently in The Godfather. And the Don gets shot and almost killed. Sonny goes nuts, but Tom eventually calms him down and says, look, it's just business. Let's have a think about cutting the deal. You know, maybe Dad wasn't quite right on this. Maybe we can, you know, get a better deal out of this. Let's see. And there is an event, again, another event now that takes place with Mikey, with Michael Corleone. Up to this point, he's been Joe College. He's been, you know, Mr. Clean. He's been College Boy, war hero. And there is a beautiful and an amazingly shot scene where the other lads are all in the room, and it slowly focuses on Michael, and he's sat in his armchair just like his dad, thinking. His mind is tick, 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 tick. What happens if I do that? If I move that pawn there, is this bishop coming out?
Yeah.
And he's formulated in his mind that whatever happens, they're gonna have another crack at his dad.
Yeah.
They're gonna have another crack at Vito. This isn't about cutting a deal. This is about a power grab.
Yeah.
They're gonna take the rackets over. And so he makes his mind up that he's gonna whack the guy who's tried to off him and the police chief who's protecting him.
And I think the moment that he really gets stuck in, and he kind of when he's really in now is, I think, you know, the scene where he protects his dad at the hospital.
Yeah.
That's where he really gets involved in it.
And leads.
Yeah.
Because you've got to take a lad who's basically a lovely lad.
Yeah.
But he's as soft as fudge, isn't he?
Yeah, and he just needs him for.
And he needs him. He needs to look tough.
He just yeah.
And he goes to bat for him,
Yeah.
doesn't he? He does it. He puts steel in his nuts, doesn't he?
He comes in good, yeah.
And he does it. And at this point, you realise that Michael he's tough. He's a little guy. He's not big and brash like Sonny, but he's a tough, and he's not as advanced as his dad is, you know, and experienced as his dad is. But he's got a core of he's got a rod of iron right the way through him. And again, like with some of the other mob films, this is like the turning point. This is the point at the crossroads at which Michael could just say, I don't know, call the police or can't call the police. Okay, so get some other guys in, and I'll move out. I'll go out and go on my way.
Yeah.
He takes charge.
Yeah.
He deals with it there and then, and it's like the tipping point. It's the point of no return.
But I think there's a sense that he feels like he can just sort out this situation and then he'll be gone.
That's it.
But he doesn't realise that he's already begun the process of getting so far in that he can't get out.
Yeah. Because events sort of conspire against him, that effectively that everybody starts to look to Mikey.
Yeah.
To say, okay, well, what next? What do we do next? You know, and then Mike goes back off to Italy in hiding.
He has to hide, yeah.
He has to go on the lam, and in the meantime, Sonny and Clemenza, who's one of the capo regimes in the family, and Tessio, they all have to basically go to war with the other families to sort of battle it out, to duke it out for to protect their business interests. And so I think maybe a good point to talk about what happens with Mike in Sicily, because we've talked a bit about how he was, you know, he's very kind of clean cut and all American, got an American missus, fought for his country, and then he goes home.
Yeah, and again, I think this is another aspect of his hubris catching up to him, where he starts to believe that he can really be free of the consequences of what he's done in New York, and just start. So he's forgotten about Kay, and he really thinks that he can live the paysan life in Sicily, with his new beautiful.
And she is lovely.
She's Apollonia, gorgeous, yeah. And just as an aside, so they get married, of course. Just as an aside, in the novel, when he meets the parents, he buys the father a gold-plated cigar cutter. Classy move.
Boy, got it out in class.
So,
all class.
All class.
And what's kind of interesting is like, you know, you kind of see him talking with Kay when he's around in New York, and they go shopping for Christmas presents, and it's all very romantic. And he's saying all the right kind of things, and he's being all kind of cutesy. And the minute he sees Apollonia is Sicilian missus, he's just dumbstruck, isn't he?
Out the window.
He's
out the window.
absolutely dumbstruck. And both of them are. But just like with when, you know, the tipping point in back home, he's kind of, all he's done is kind of kick the can down the road a little bit. Because there's an event that happens. They know that they can get to Mikey somehow. There are connections in Sicily, like there are connections in the States, and his bodyguards, the guys who were sent to protect him, put a bomb under his car.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst, I think, at least it is in the film. I don't know how it says in the books, but they didn't. I presumed that it could have been quite sort of old school, that they wouldn't have wanted to have. They wouldn't have targeted necessarily Apollonia.
The wife, yeah.
But she's driving and the car blows up.
Yeah.
And he's changed.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And he realises at that point, this isn't going away. He's not going on a long holiday to get away from this and go back and everything's cool. Everything's changed. Yeah. Everything's different now.
And just to rewind for a minute, he's kind of living the paysan life, and then he sees Apollonia. And then, by chance, bumps into her dad.
Yeah.
And then he, not knowing that it is her dad, he mentions the girl that looks a bit Greek and this and that. And then he flies into a rage and then he starts to use his Godfather energy.
Right.
That he's picked up in New York.
The lads are wanting to scarp her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's his daughter. Quick, go. And he's like, you translate.
Yeah.
We're gonna sort this out.
Yeah. So even though he's been ostensibly been trying to keep it low key in Sicily, he's bringing what he was trying to escape in New York to this new place, and then predictably he faces the consequences. Right. Although he thought that he could get away from it.
Yeah. And because initially it really works. I mean, like, it's such a great scene, and he talks the guy. Not only does he talk the guy down, it's like everything that comes out of his mouth at his own personal risk is engineered to get the response that he wants out of this guy, because he loves this girl. Yeah. And he realizes he can't. His two lads in the back are enormous. They've all got guns. The other guys have got guns. Yeah. And so they're not gonna win in a straight up shootout fight. And so he plays it straight. He says, "Look, you know, I meant no offence. I want to meet your daughter with all proper respect. You know, with your family. I want to meet your family." And he tells him who he is, which up to this point has been like all under the carpet.
I can't remember exactly what he says, but he says a great line that, like, it's better for you to gain a son-in-law than for your daughter to lose a father.
That's
something
right.
Like
he does. Yeah,
it says something
thinly
like
veiled
that.
threat. Yeah. But then your daughter would lose a father.
Yeah.
Rather than gain a husband.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like, this guy's all right. This guy's all right, and he does. They get married, and then the tragic event happens. He ends up after some pretty robust discussions, and before we forget, Carlo, Connie's husband, gives her a good pasting, and she calls Sonny. Sonny does what? Sonny hits the wall, goes off the wall, goes after Carlo, and beats him to his life. Yeah. On his way back, at the turnpike, the rest of the families are waiting for him. Block his car in and absolutely ventilate him. Don't
Light
they?
him up,
And so the Don's lost one of his sons. One of the other mob bosses lost his son. And at this point, the Don is ready to call a ceasefire. Yeah. And so he calls a truce, they call a meeting, and he says, I'm willing to forgo the vengeance of my son if the head of the Tatalia, Don Tatalia, is happy to forego his vengeance, and we'll have peace. Yeah. But my son, who's innocent, must be allowed to come home safe and cleared of all these nonsense charges. Yeah. So lo and behold, Mikey's back home. Mikey comes back, and almost straight away, there's a sense that Mike just kind of wants to sort of pick up a little bit where he left off. Yeah. Bit ideological, bit of hubris in there. Like, you see Kay, and he's like, so, where were we? I want kids, you want kids. I want to take the family out of the businesses that they're in. I want to make them completely legitimate. I can do it. And she buys it. Mm. But Mike realises straight away what's happened. He knows that somebody on the inside of the family has been involved. But been involved with whom? One of the other mob bosses. Mm. So they all think Talia, because he was the one whose son they shot. But Mikey's smarter than that. He knows that that's not the case, and he realises after one of the other guys clocks that Tessio, one of the other capos, has been in cahoots with Barzini, one of the other heads of the family. But he also realises that Carlo was responsible for setting Sonny up and has got to pay. So Mikey waits, doesn't act straight away, waits and waits and waits and waits until everybody's nice and comfy, until the christening of his godson, his nephew.
Yeah, great scene.
Which is Carlo and Connie's son, Anthony. Michael, sorry. Anthony's his son, Michael. Young Michael. And Michael Rizzi. And he decides at this point that he is not just happy to go after Barzini and sort Tessio out, clean his own house up. He's going to go after all the families. He wants everything. Everything. And so he does. He has them. He engineers the execution of all the other family bosses. Yeah, and
you're watching this happen as it's cross-cut with the baptism of the child. So there's this real dichotomy between the outward appearance of piety and godliness, intercut with just the dirty business of
and so it's like another step towards almost kind of the fall of Michael into this other world, this world that he never wanted to be involved in. Yeah. That he was adamant that the family were going to come out of it, and yet every action that he's taking is to kind of mire himself further into this world. Yeah. And he's really good at it. He's really good at it. He was born to do it. And so it comes naturally very easy to him.
Yeah. And I think that's probably, I'd say too, he's not been able to outrun the fate that he tried to. It's come full circle, and
it comes so naturally to him. Yeah. It's so inherently baked into him. Yeah. And his character traits are so well suited to this kind of role, and it's a cracking point that you make about it, there being the two sides of it, because that ultimately is the essence of what it is to be the Godfather. They don't say mob boss, it's Godfather, the Godfather Don Corleone. They don't call him Dad or Daddy, it's Godfather. And so outwardly, he's very, he's a pillar of the community. Yeah. He helps people. The first scene perfectly illustrates with Don Vito, Brando. The first bit, he's talking about getting revenge from some lads who've knocked his daughter about. And the very next one, it's about, it's my daughter's wedding day. But Mikey maybe not so much in the first, but certainly in the second, I think he finds the battle easier than he does the patronal stuff.
Yeah.
That he's almost too calculating. He's too not necessarily ready to go to fight, but he sees everything as being a bit of a battle that he's got to fight. And it's this is undoing at the very end of the trilogy of films. But particularly with the end of the first film, Connie finds out that Mikey, or suspects that Mikey has been the one responsible for whacking her husband Carlo.
Yeah.
And a bit kind of cringe, especially given that he goes to see Fredo in Vegas, and he turns on Mikey after saying, "Oh, you don't talk to a man like Mo Green like that." And he says, "Fredo,
yeah,
you're my brother, and I love you very much, but don't ever take sides against the family like that, ever." And that's about as cold and steely a warning as he can possibly give anybody. It's probably the sternest he's ever spoken to anybody in the film.
Yeah.
He hates that somebody's chosen something else over the family.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic that he'd chosen the clean-cut sort of all-American hero life against the wishes of his family.
Yeah.
But what it means is that he's now fully invested. And so he sort of placates Connie, but Connie knows, everybody knows that it was Mike that had ordered the hit and got him sorted out. And so at the very end of the film, Kay goes in to see him, thinking like, oh, she can just have a chat to him about, oh, did you do that thing? And he just stonewalls her. He's like, don't ever. He said, I'll talk to you this one time, but don't ever ask me about the family business ever again. And she sees the door close very slowly, and as the door's closing, she sees the Kappa regimes kiss Mikey's hand and call him Godfather.
Great scene.
And then we fade to black.
Yeah.
And at this point, he is the Godfather.
Yeah.
Lock, stock and barrel.
He's embodied it,
Yeah. Amazing film. The fall is an interesting one because I think the fall happens progressively.
Yeah.
But it kind of ends, does the first one, at the edge of the precipice that he's in. He's dropped, maybe just dropped over the edge of the precipice. But look at what's happened around him. He's lost his brother. His dad. Okay, his dad's running around after. Say, kids with the death here. So he's running around after after Mikey's little lad, and he
in the tomato field.
On the tomato field, he's got some oranges. He's messing about with oranges again. I don't know why. And he drops down dead. But all of these things that have happened around him, he's lost his wife through mob stuff. His world's been thrown upside down, but he's completely now immersed in the role of being the head of a crime family. Masterpiece.
Yeah,
that word's thrown around quite a lot these days. Probably Coppola's best.
Yeah.
He's done some crackers. Done some maybe that aren't quite as good, but this has got to be up there. It's probably it certainly is my favourite of the Coppola films.
Yeah.
But these elements of sort of hubris and fall, we see Sonny's hubris and his fall. Even to some extent, I think Tommy was he's very sort of stoic and quite calm, and he's a bit of a lamb amongst lions. He wants to kind of placate people, and he always wants to kind of the business side of things. He wants to deal with it in the he wants to try and find a diplomatic approach first. And there's a scene where Mike says to Tom, "You're out, Tom." Really cold to him.
Yeah.
And it's not that he doesn't love him. He does love him. He loves him like a brother. And I think at one point he even says to him, "Look, I think it's in the second one. He says, "Oh, I have to do it. There are reasons why I have to do it, but you're out."
Yeah.
And Carlo's going to be my right hand man. The old adage: keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But Tom feels a bit put out, I think, at that. The look on his face. It feels like he's kind of he's fallen down the pecking order a little bit.
Yeah.
Things play out later again and again in the second film. Things play out where he does come back to be conciliary, Fredo, you know, he's going to be you know, he's a party boy, but it's all right. He's going to go to Vegas. He's going to learn the casino business, and everything's going to be sound until it isn't.
Yeah.
And again, his fall is yet to come, but he's already with goofing up, protecting his dad, going out buying oranges. The fall has already started to happen for him. So it's not an immediately obvious sort of Greek tragedy, but there are strong elements to it, I think. And that those sort of twin threads of success and tragedy, you know, the more powerful that Mikey gets, the more tragic his life becomes.
Yeah.
And that just starts to sort of seep in, I think, a little bit towards the end of the first Godfather.
Yeah.
Cracking film.
Amazing film.
So, that takes us through Greek tragedies.
Yeah.
We're thinking maybe other series coming up soon. Maybe maybe some war flicks.
Yeah.
We thought about
It's
didn't we?
about Nanflix, didn't we?
Nanflix would be good.
To take us up to like Spooktober.
Yeah. Could do a Coppola crossover. Could do Apocalypse Now maybe for the next one.
Yeah.
Would be a nice smooth crossover. 2 of my favourite Coppola films. 2 of my favourite Brando films.
Yeah.
Other big performances turned in. Martin Sheen turns a cracking performance in. Dennis Hopper, cool cameo that he's got in there. Lawrence Fishburne, early film, yeah, he's in there. So that may be another nice one to sort of move into, and then we go into to Spooktober.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit as well about stones.
Yeah.
So, although I've not been smoking too much of it just yet, I have got talk us through a little bit about the principle with stones. Why bother?
Yeah. So we've been talking about this for a while. We've been kind of intrigued by the subject, and Dion finally pulled the trigger on getting some of the Nordian keystones in, as they call them. So it turns out that they're just fragments of bentonite clay, right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
So they're these like little clay pebbles, and you put them at the bottom of the bowl. Now I know that Nordian makes a pipe. It's a lot like a falcon, where it's got kind of like a humidome kind of thing underneath, and you're supposed to put the stones in there. But you can also just drop them at the bottom of a briar pipe. So the idea being that you create like I think essentially what it does is in a normal briar it recreates like the humidome of the falcon. So you've got a bit of a buffer created by the stones in between like the bottom of the briar and your tobacco, and the stones are there, 1, to absorb moisture, and 2, create like this buffer zone where the smoke is allowed to cool down, and also it means that you can burn the leaf right down to the bottom without getting this like wet plug that you'd normally tend to, I mean, unavoidable really in a traditional briar. You can mitigate it to a certain degree, but
yeah, and I've tried. So I've picked this pipe for a good reason, not just because it's a Nordian pipe and a Nordian keystone, but also as much as I love this pipe, and I love this pipe, because it's a very sharp bend, and I'm a particularly slobbery smoker, so there's that too. This isn't a particularly wet blend.
no.
This is quite a dry blend. I think it handles the moisture like all C&D blends. Very, very good with the moisture. But we smoke quite a lot of English, and traditionally smoke a lot of English, and that can tend to be quite wet.
Yeah.
Which is why the Falcons are so great, because they just take care of it. But this particular pipe has got quite a narrow chimney. It's long and deep, and so that naturally, all those things kind of conspire to make it very pluggy at the end of the smoke.
Yeah.
I always have to sacrifice a good quarter to half inch of a bowl. It's just lost.
Yeah.
Right. I use long matches. I try and lance it, but it just
at a certain point
you're chucking good money after bad.
Yeah.
Right. So So the principle here is I've gone for probably that bit where the plug would normally be. I've just filled them up with Nordic keystones.
Yeah.
Let's try and take care of it. And I've got to say, so I've had one experience with this already that I can talk through, where I'd maybe gone for probably half that amount. I'd got maybe half a dozen keystones in.
Yeah.
And it didn't completely get rid of the dottle, and I still had to swab it once throughout the bowl. It was a fairly tall bowl. It was a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
It was so much better. And what was left over was probably the amount that I should have put the keystones into.
Yeah.
So it showed me that okay, I need to go a little bit stronger with the stones. Why stones? Why not just a filter?
Yeah. So I think the thing about the stones is, I mean, one, it's porous, right? It's got an absorbent quality to it. So they seem. I mean, I've been smoking this for the course of this live stream. I put about 5 or 6 in the bottom little holes. I think sometimes filter can, even though I think the balsa filters are great, sometimes they can affect draw. It's a bit of a. This has not affected the draw at all. The draw has been incredible.
Because crucially, you're not filtering the stem.
Yeah,
right. It's just in the bottom
it's
of
in
the
the
bowl.
Yeah. So the absorbent nature of the clay, it's taking care of the moisture without affecting the draw at all, and it just means that you can get right down to the bottom of the leaf, and it's cool and it's dry. The flavour is unaffected.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the first time that I've tried them, and I've got to say it's been great.
Because again, a decent bend on the on the salve there, so probably around the same kind of bend.
Similar dynamics, yeah.
Probably similar sort of bowl size as well, maybe just a little bit wider.
Yeah.
But it's kind of there or thereabouts. The other thing as well worth mentioning is that not only does the bentonite clay absorb moisture, but being stone also absorbs heat better than wood would do as well. So I find typically I can go a little bit harder on the draw than I would normally. I would probably treat this to pretty much the same way that I would with a falcon. I ain't worried about my draw. I ain't worried about my cadence. I can just bang away on it.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I mean, it's like you mentioned the heat. I really would say that the walls of the briar itself have been cooler. It's never really heated up at any point.
Yeah.
So I mean, personally, I think they do what they advertise to do. Yeah.
Which is great. I've got a big bag for like, what did it come out at? It's about $15. So and I think a little tin is supposed to last you like 50 smokes or something.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get loads of time out of them. I think you can use them and use them and use them. I think they will ghost a little, or a fair bit probably, but it doesn't matter, I guess, if you're just using the same blend. Once they've been dried out, I'm just going to keep smashing until if it starts to get a bit weird taste, a bit of a sort of that tangy, tarry taste. I can get rid of them and get some others in, but I've just banged some fresh ones in over the top of those.
Yeah.
But kept the original ones and it's been fine.
Yeah, I've got to say, so I'm at the bottom of the bowl now. I'm pretty much smoked out, and normally when you kind of like chasing the bottom of the bowl, the heat is close to the heat is close to the bottom, so you're drawing a bit of extra heat into your mouth. There's a bit of a risk of burn, tongue bite, whatever. But I'm really not getting it with this.
Yeah, good. I think this is going to be. Probably wouldn't use it in every smoke.
No.
But there are certain pipes that I've got where I'll probably I will use the remnants of that bag for pretty much for the foreseeable. I think with this, just fits it really nicely. There are others that I've got. Most of the other two salves are just the spot. I don't really need to worry too much about that. But yeah, just another tool in the box, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think they're cool. I like them.
So in terms of going forward, like we say, Ari and I have got a lot of content coming up. We're quite lucky. We've got quite a few cigar nights that are coming up. Our guys at Mitchell's have just opened their lounge, so I don't know about you, man, but I'm hankering for a trip to the lounge. Maybe we could do a bit of a check in there. Doesn't have to be a big one, but we can do a couple of shots in there.
Definitely.
That would be good. Maybe when I come back off holiday. We've got some more cigar nights coming up, so we keep an eye out for stuff that we're doing on that. We're trying to go for some new logo stuff. We're
working on a new logo.
Yeah, we've got a good guy, Will from Firestone.
Yeah.
Who specialises in fire pits. Good lad, good bro.
Yeah, artist too. Will Pollard, great guy.
And he's helping us out with a new logo. So we're thinking on top of that. Once we've got that sorted, that's probably a bit of merchandise. We can maybe have a look at some Teespring and a couple of other places. Maybe we can start looking at putting a bit of merch out and see where we go from there.
And what we should say before we wrap up is that we are doing a monthly blend review now. So we've already started with the San Sepolcro, which I will edit and get out as soon as I can. That'll be the inaugural episode. But what we're going to do is announce the blend that we're going to review next month in good time for you to either try and get hold of some yourself and join in, or if you've already smoked it, you can just let us know what you thought about it. So the next one that we're going to do is Cornell and Deal's Big and Burly. Yeah,
that's what it's all about, innit? It's me all over, Big and Burly. So I mean it's another Cornell and Deal.
Yeah,
good leaf.
Yeah, we like.
They know we like their stuff. They know Burly. They know how to look after Burly.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
I love the San Sepolcro. I absolutely loved it. Would I have that in my rotation? Yes,
absolutely,
all day long,
no doubt.
Probably one of the best Virginia smoke experiences I've ever had.
Yeah,
has been that particular blend.
Yeah,
just such a shame that it's small batch because it was going to be. I went on again to have a look. It's sold out. Yeah. But I will keep an eye for another lot of that coming up. Can't recommend that one highly enough. But I'm really looking forward to the Big and Burly.
Yeah, me too.
Something a bit different. Kinda, but it's another CD Burley. But it's another good one. So if you can get hold of a bit, especially you guys stateside, you guys are really lucky. You get that for the pennies that we have to pay the pounds for.
Yeah.
Get hold of a bit. I think it's loose, so you might even be able to get a little tester maybe from you guys at Smoking Pipes or Four Noggins.
Yeah.
Probably Four Noggins, especially for the guys who are not stateside.
Yeah.
If you can get hold of a bit, smoke some with us, leave your notes in the comments, let us know what you think, and if there are other blends that you think are worth trying, you would like us to maybe give a shout out to.
Yeah.
Listen, we're Gary Lineker here. We're all ears. You tell you guys in America might not know who Gary Lineker is, but don't matter. Google him. No, don't Google him. Just a guy with big ears. So get hold of a bit. Come on. And if there is something that you want us to smoke, give us a shout. We'll give it a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Well, thanks, H.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, another good one. We've got some content coming out. Keep a good eye on that. We'll be in touch. We're going to be, fairly chatty on the community post, I think, between then and now. So until next time.
Yeah.